Hi, we're back again, and we have a gentleman that has a wonderful career as a photographer, and we're glad to have him. And his name is Joshua Moulton. Hi,
Hi, nice to
Joshua.
meet you.
Oh my God, you cold hands.
They're cold and clammy all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, we're glad to have you on because I'm very interested in photography. I'm not very good at it, but I like it.
No one has to be particularly good at it to enjoy it. But that's one of the great things about photography. It's just such a experience to be in it and to enjoy it.
The only thing I've done in photography, I took a course, in junior college, and I had this little tiny cam. The other guys had these real very fancy, and I thought, oh boy. So, but at the end of the course, I got an A because I guess of composition.
My only interest in photography when I was in school was I took an intro to photo class just because I needed it as part of the prerequisites just so I could pass city college so I go into Fresno State. I had never really any interest in it whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
none whatsoever.
Wow.
I was convinced I couldn't do art. I couldn't understand art. It just wasn't my thing at all until about 2 years ago. I picked up a camera just because I work at PG&E and I love my job. And I went to school with the intention of doing a lot of analytics and a lot of data-driven stuff. Turns out that was driving me crazy a little bit. So I just had no outlet for any of my creativity. And then creativity I didn't know I had outside of just just random things that I do. And so I picked up a camera. Like, I really like to hike. I really like to travel. So I'm like, well, I'll try to take some pictures. Seems kind of like a cool thing to do. And it did not take me long to really just dive just head first in because it was so awesome. It was so freeing for me. I didn't know I had this capacity to shoot and create art like this. So it was a really fun way for me to learn a lot about myself.
Oh, yes.
And then on top of that, it's become a great excuse to go travel to some of the most beautiful places in the world.
Wow.
So, in fact, what on the screen now is a shot I have from Athabasca Falls in Canada.
Oh, wow.
It was
Fabulous.
it was an image that I really wanted to go to these falls in Canada. Where I was there in June, so the weather was really erratic. In a single day in Jasper, we had cloudy, sunshine, windy, rainy, snowy, all on the same day. Every 15 minutes, the weather changed, so you never knew what you're gonna get.
Oh gosh.
So we went to the Athabasca Falls, and they're really pretty and gorgeous, and you can hike down along the shore here. And I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. The rocks are really great. I love the colors in the rocks. It was very cloudy and kind of bland. So I framed it up because I just love this composition so much. With the mountain there and the rocks kind of like just leading your eye directly to it. And when I went to go edit, I converted this high contrast black and white. I'm like, I just love this image so much. It was just not. It wasn't even one of the one of the ones I came home with like, oh, I know this is gonna be just a fantastic picture. I only got to it like 2 months after I got back because I had so many images to edit. So I was like, I surprised myself when I was like going through my roll. I'm like, this is a really cool picture. I should have done this a long time ago.
As
I
long
was
as
really
you
surprised.
did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what's great.
The entirety of Canada was gorgeous, and I was so happy to go shoot it.
I've been there 2 times years ago.
It was my first time visiting Canada outside of we did a cruise and stopped in Victoria, British Columbia for like 4 hours. But it's not really going to Canada.
Yeah.
So we had planned this one. It was actually a gift from my wife as a Christmas gift. She said that I could choose wherever I wanted to go because oftentimes we do our international trips as our vacation trips, and I try to work shooting into it. And she goes, we can go wherever you want to go, and it can just be like a shooting trip. And because she doesn't necessarily enjoy it the whole entire.
Yes.
She doesn't like to sit around because when I'll set up my camera, I sit and I'll wait. I know because you never know what the conditions are going to be and how things could change. Oftentimes, I think I've got the shot of the location, and then I go, well, I'm just going to wait a little bit, and the conditions change. You're like, okay, this is entirely unexpected. This one here was one that I had no intention of getting.
Oh my gosh!
Honestly, I was a little disappointed at first.
Why?
Because this was sunrise, so we had got up really early to get there for sunrise. This is Moraine Lake. It's right next to Lake Patricia. Lake Patricia is a very popular lake. There's 1,000 people there all the time. But this is a much smaller lake, just kind of off the road, and it steals Lake Patricia's lunch every day. The color of the water is so gorgeous.
Yes,
this turquoise water.
It's really gorgeous.
That is from the glacier sediment, because all these lakes are glacier fed. But we got there for sunrise, and we're like, I'm gonna get the sun coming up from behind me. It's gonna glow on the mountains. It's gonna be this gorgeous shot. And then it was super cloudy. It was so cloudy and it was so cold. And I'm like, but these clouds that were like socking in these mountains. Like, this is such a moody picture. I was so happy. There was not one bit of wind. The water was so still. I was really surprised that even though it wasn't my vision, but like I came home with something I didn't expect, and that's kind of why I like doing it. You never know.
That's why you like photography.
Yeah, you get there, you're like, well, you never know if I always have a vision. Well, not always. That's a lie. Most of the time I don't have a vision, but when I have a vision, I go out. I'm like, I'm gonna capture this, and then 9 times out of 10. I was way off base, just entirely off. And I go, well, I guess I'm going to work with what I have now. And so I just go out there, and that's kind of why I don't plan, because it's so much more fun to be in the moment, because oftentimes I feel like if I've planned a location too much, then I'm just looking through the lens of the camera, and I'm not appreciating what's around me.
Right.
So being able there just to almost... It's like a mad rush between the really nice light that you're seeing and the environments around you, to just make sure you've experienced it and then captured it, so that way the viewer can feel like they were there too. Gosh, I want people who look at my work and go, I feel like I'm standing there. I want it to feel personal to them, because that's how my images feel to me. They feel really personal.
Oh yes.
I don't just take a picture and go, cool, I'm gonna sell this, because I don't want to sell anything. It's really hard to sell art.
That's for sure.
So I just want people to enjoy the image, to look at it and go, man, this takes me there, because not everyone gets to go to a lot of those places.
That's for sure. I would like to, but seeing the picture, it's hard to believe. So that water was so beautiful.
Oh yeah, it was gorgeous. It was freezing cold. I had to touch it. I couldn't resist. I had to touch it. I can't get up to the body of water and just go, well, I mean, I'm not gonna not touch it. So
that's what happened to me when I finally got over to some of the places and I said, the water. I said, I got to put my foot in it or my hand in it or something. In Italy mainly, but it was wonderful.
I think about the only place I didn't put my hand in the water was when I was in Venice, Italy, because that water didn't smell too good.
It's really that bad, huh?
It was bad when I was there. It was summer, so it was kind of hot, and the heat didn't mix well with it.
Oh,
it didn't smell good. I didn't take it on the ride. Well, we could pay 80 euros to go.
Isn't that a shame?
It was pretty sad.
Such a beautiful place for vacations, and then it has to be like that.
Yeah, a lot of that is because it's so beautiful. A lot of that, even including Canada, Banff, Italy, everywhere in Italy, and all of our national parks are being overrun with people because they're so beautiful.
Yes.
So we just don't have any infrastructure in place to deal with this bandwidth of people, the amount of trash they're going to bring, just because that's just how we are. So it's difficult to want to go to these beautiful places because they're gorgeous, but at the same time, so does everyone else. And I don't want anyone to not view them. I just wish that they would maybe treat them a little bit better, just a little bit.
That's for sure. Oh, that has to be. I guess people just are so entranced that they are do stupid things. I can do that.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty stupid things being done in some areas, and just people don't think really about it because they think of like, oh, well, I'm gonna go to Banff in Canada, and it's like going to Disneyland. They're there to view these places, and they're gorgeous and they're beautiful, and it's an entertainment thing for them. But at Disneyland, they got a whole lot of people to pick up all your trash, and these parks don't have that. There's not the funding's not there for it, and it's a lot difficult to manage a really secluded park versus the wilderness.
That's for sure.
Because the wind could just take your trash and it's gone, and now it's just out there.
Gosh, I haven't been out there for a while, so I don't really realize that it's that bad.
It can get pretty bad. I mean, there's been places where you had to frame around trash, or Photoshop them out, or things like that. Fortunately, I didn't have any of those issues in like Banff. It was gorgeous and clean. There was still a lot of people. Banff was really, really, really crowded. It was like walking downtown Disneyland in downtown Banff.
No kidding.
Yeah, during the middle of the day, you're like, I'm shoulder to shoulder with people. But because it's so far north, the sun's up early, and doesn't set till 10 o'clock at night.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's so far north, so you get insane amounts of daylight, which was great for me.
It's good for me too. Even if I don't do anything, I just like light.
Yeah, there was an image. It's one of mine. It's of Peyto Lake. It's my favorite image. I came home with it. We had gone to try to go to Peyto around like 1 o'clock on one day. We were driving down from this is the image, the screen, and
you just keep you keep throwing these. They're beautiful. They're so. Oh my gosh.
This one had such a great story because we are coming from Jasper to go to Banff, and you drive along the prettiest stretch of road that I've ever seen in my entire life. This is along that stretch of road. These mountains just rise up on both sides of the road just immediately. But Peyto Lake is also one of the most traffic spots along the Icefields Parkway, so we tried to stop around noon just to kind of check it out. And we couldn't even get in the parking lot. It was so full of cars and people and tour buses. So we're like, well, I guess we're not going to see Peyto Lake today. So we drove on to Banff, and later during that week, we're like, well, we don't have anything to do. It's 5 o'clock at night. We didn't want to go into town because it would be too crowded.
Yeah.
And Banff is still very small, so that many people in such a very small area is just not fun. So like, well, I told my wife, like, do you want to go see if we can go see Peyto? And she goes, yeah, okay. It's like an hour and a half, 45-minute drive. And so we got there about 7 o'clock. There wasn't a soul in the parking lot because it was now 7 o'clock. It was dinner time for people, and the sun was still at great, high enough in the sky where you had so much light. But it was also kind of cloudy and overcast. So we're like, well, I brought my camera because I didn't expect to get anything. And we climb up to the top, to the viewing area. And I look out, I'm like, wow, the clouds just broke open. To have this amazing light shining through onto the mountains.
Wow.
Like, I got so lucky. And then my wife just happened to climb down to where she is on the edge there.
Yeah,
and I go,
her there.
Stand there. Don't move. Like, this is an amazing opportunity that you just happen to... Without her there, it doesn't complete the image.
No.
So she just happened to walk down, and the clouds just happened to do that. And I think there's this picture is 6 or 7 images I've spliced together. One to capture the color of the water with that amazing blue. Several for the clouds, so I make sure I capture all the detail. One for her in the foreground, so I got her right, and I painted all together in Photoshop. I love this image so much. It has such a strong feeling with me because, one, it's not very often I can convince my wife to be my model. She doesn't like it. So she just happened to walk down there, and it's just absolutely perfect. I love this scene so much.
You know, it almost looks like she's looking at another world or something. It's just that it has strength and so much power.
Yeah, I love this image. And this one's a really great one too. It's kind of hard to see from right here, but this is a Mobius Rock, or Mobius Arch in Lone Pine, California.
Oh.
And it's the Milky Way image. I love this picture because I went there, and this is one of those situations where I pre-planned it, and it came out exactly as I imagined. Like one of hundreds of attempts, exactly as I imagined.
Well, that's wonderful.
Oh
yeah. Oh yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love this one because I was like, I planned it out with two of my friends, both of which they're retired, and one of them had to bail, so it was just me and my good friend of mine, Wayne, and he ended up having to cut our trip early. So we're like, okay, we're gonna cram everything into one night. We're gonna do we're not gonna get any sleep. We're going to do some astrophotography. I'm going to do some star trail photography. And then I'm going to do a sunrise shot. So we got no sleep.
I guess not.
No. We get there, and this was Memorial Day weekend. No, Labor Day weekend. Yeah, Labor Day weekend. And very, very rarely does a new moon coincide with a weekend on top of a holiday weekend. So I assumed there would be a bunch of photographers there because this is not like a secret spot. It's a very popular spot for people to go, and I just assumed there'd be a bunch of people, and I showed up, there was nobody there. It was just me and my friend Wayne, and so we staked out where we wanted to as the sun was setting, and I knew exactly the Milky Way would be exactly behind the rock itself. By the time it had moved throughout the night, that's when people started showing up. Like, you guys missed it. You guys missed it hours ago.
Oh God!
They had missed the perfect shot. I can't believe they had waited so long to show up.
But you didn't miss it. You didn't witness you were there.
Oh, I was totally willing to sit there and just. I mean, I even brought my Kindle so I can read in case I was bored. Because sometimes, like, you just don't know. You could be just sitting there on a rock for a couple hours,
Oh gosh!
just waiting for time to go by until the conditions set up right. So it was fantastic. Oh, it was such a good night. And not to mention, Lone Pine is gorgeous. And at night, the weather is perfect during the summer. During the day, it was really hot. It was really hot.
Yeah.
But during the night, I mean, I was in jeans and a t-shirt and just really comfortable, just sitting out on some rocks. It was great.
How can you just think how amazing that is? At all of this traveling and all of this photography would never have happened if you didn't pick up that camera.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It was a lot of circumstances just kind of had to go right. And because my wife, she's a poet. She has a master's degree in poetry.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'd read her stuff, and she'd read it to me, and it'd go right over my head. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I just don't get it. I don't get art in general. Like, I could appreciate pictures, but for the most part,
I don't.
The connection wasn't there.
I don't connect with poetry either.
But when I picked up the camera, then all of a sudden the connection to that art form just was so strong and so immediate too. Because I picked up the camera in the end of 2017, but I really didn't start shooting with intent until March of last year.
Wow. You've done a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I know.
Really? You just boom.
I really jumped into it, yeah. Learning the editing portion was really difficult. There's a lot you can do in Photoshop that I just taught myself how to do, like YouTube, things like that.
And is your poetry, is your photography for sale for people?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic, because I know a lot of people would have that in their home because there's something, it's like being there.
That's why I want to sell it, because obviously it makes me a little bit of money, but to help pay for offset some of the costs of going to so many different places.
For sure.
But I like it when people want my work, because I'm glad I was able to transport them to wherever so that they could take a look at it and then they could feel however they're feeling about the image. It's entirely up to them as the viewer. But if they want it that badly to be able to take a look at it in their home, that means a lot to me.
And well, how do people get in touch with you?
I have a website. It's joshuamoulton.com. It's pretty simple. And I also have an Instagram and Facebook pages I keep track of. On Instagram, it's Joshua Moulton Photography, and same thing on Facebook, Joshua Moulton Photography.
Great.
Yeah.
That's easy enough to remember.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that no one else has my exact name. So there is another Josh Moulton painter in Chicago.
Oh.
But in fact, I've had people go, I think someone's trying to steal your work. And I go, no, that guy's way more famous than I am. He's not stealing my work. That's his own work.
There's a lot of Carol Loves too.
That's true.
And so what can you do?
Yeah, I was just happy to get my full name.
Yes. Well, I'm just so happy that you came today because that work is just amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I hope you'll come in again because we
absolutely.
try to promote people, to get people to know you, know what you're like and how you ever got into your interest. So that's wonderful. I'm so glad you came in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, it's been great.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's it for today, and we know you must have enjoyed it because I sure did. Okay, bye-bye.